Another day, another reaction. We back. You feel what I'm saying? New York 50-year-olds share advice for younger self. Okay, this should be interesting. Everybody, take out their notebook. You know what? No bullshit. I'm locked in today, man. No bullshit, man. We not playing around. You feel what I'm saying? I got my notebook. Where's my pen at? I got my notebook. You feel what I'm saying? I'm ready to write stuff down. I'm ready to get better today. That's what I'm ready to do. I'm ready to be better today than I was yesterday. You feel me? Let's lock in.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh boy, have the balls to go for it. I didn't. I guess I got scared and I kind of like gave up on that dream and got like the typical corporate 9-to-5 job. And that's my biggest regret in my life. Hold off getting married? I wish I did.
I spent years researching the answers to these questions on Reddit when I was trying to transform my life, but I always wish that I could hear it from the sources themselves. In this video, I'll be interviewing strangers in their middle ages, 40s, 50s, and early 60s in New York about their best piece of advice for the younger self and what they would do differently if they could go back in time and be your age.
What is my age?
How old are you?
I am 45.
I just turned 50.
Do you feel 45?
Nope.
What about yourself?
I don't feel 50. I think when you get to be my age, the big 50, you become sort of acutely aware of time and how ephemeral and temporary everything is and how quickly time moves.
What is a big mistake that you've made or a big regret that you have that has taught you a very valuable lesson in life?
For me, my biggest regret was I wanted to be an actor. That was my dream since I was in like elementary school. I was in all the school plays. I had a modicum of success like when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I was on a few TV shows and I was like sort of almost like on the cusp of like making it. I guess I got scared and it was like, I need to work. I need to support myself, obviously. I was the quintessential starving artist. I was sleeping on friends' couches. I was bartending. I was a server, whatever, doing what I had to do so I can go on auditions during the day. And I kind of like gave up on that dream and got like the typical corporate 9-to-5 job. And that's my biggest regret in my life. All I've ever wanted to do was be an actor. And now I have some lame corporate job and it's like, yeah, I can pay my rent and whatever, live, but what is the point at the end of the day? You recognize that time is so short. It's so precious. The most precious commodity all of us humans have is time. You can't get back time. That's the only one thing that you can't get back or get more of, let's say. Sort of hyper aware of that now.
And if you could go back in time and give one piece of advice to your younger self, knowing what you know today, what would you say to him?
Don't take things as seriously as you should. Over the last 30 or 40 years, I've had a lot of my friends die, get diseases, accidents. You don't know when it's going to end, so relax, enjoy life.
Don't look at money for money. You gotta look at what you want to do, and then money does come. And you get better and better at what you want to do. When you go into something that feels like it's gonna bring you a lot of money, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll make you feel like you're in the right place. And eventually you don't want to be there. All the money in the world will not help when you just don't want to be there.
Have the balls to go for it. I didn't. It's easier said than done, but I think if I would have dedicated myself...
Nigga, you're 34, nigga. You have... Bruh, you're young as fuck. As Gary Vee would say, nigga. You're a fucking baby. I didn't put out my first piece of content until I was fucking 34 years old in my father's wine shop, man. You're fucking young as shit. You're literally 34. Like, I get it. You could still have regrets at 34. Like, do I have regrets at 24? Not really. I just didn't know a lot of shit. For the most part, I did the best with what I knew and my exposure, so I don't really have regrets. Let's see.
To go for it. I didn't. It's easier said than done, but I think if I would have dedicated myself more, then I probably could have, but it's easy to just fall into a routine or fall into something that's comfortable, Things tend to work out, but you got to put the effort in. It's not going to fall into your lap just like that.
Learn what you really care about yourself and what you want to do. I mean, I got that advice 35, 40 years ago. I didn't really listen to it, but I wish I did.
Hold off getting married and having children, and don't be afraid to try one career and change to another career.
Be gentle with yourself. Don't judge yourself on so many parameters. Just try to be a good person. That's enough.
Have a little bit of confidence. Don't waste time like swirling around in self-doubt. Just plunge forward. Do the thing as well as you can.
Plunge. That's the word of the day. Plunge. Let's look that word up. Plunge. So we can just get a context of the word. Plunge, jump or dive quickly and energetically, bro. This is why I be looking up the words, bro. Because the definition, it gives a whole different feel to the word.
can.
I didn't know that my own feelings about things were as important as they are. But actually, I think I've come to understand that my feelings are one of the most important guides that I have in my life. And it's not self-indulgent at all. It's the way to live a meaningful, fulfilling life.
When you're 22, you think you're going to live forever. I got my whole life ahead of me. No, you have to do it then. Try, fail. There's nothing to be ashamed of with failure. Just learn from it and then move on and just try a whole bunch of different things.
What's a big mistake that you made or a big regret you have that you learned a valuable lesson from?
Oh, I've made so many. Caring too much about what other people think, or thinking that other people were maybe being more judgmental than they were. In the end, I think you just have to learn who you are and be yourself. And that takes time and experience and like falling down and getting up.
You always feel you've been better toward other people, kinder, more tolerant. When you're young, you seem to think you've got all the answers, and you're idealistic, which is a good thing. That's a great thing about young people, They can break boundaries, they can push the envelope because they see that things don't have to be this way. But at the same time, it can make you kind of intolerant and kind of feeling like you've got the right way and nobody else does.
Hey, I devoted a number of years to someone who was completely all wrong with me with the idea that I'd invested so much in it already, and I think this is a very common fallacy. I wanted to be married, move forward, etc., etc. And there was some point when the giant light bulb went off that I didn't want or need that. If all your friends are telling you that someone is awful, maybe stop and consider about whether perhaps they have a point. I think many people don't make that judgment. They just keep polishing the turd and they get married or they what have you. And I'm not okay with polishing the turd. Every once in a while, you should check in with yourself. Ask yourself, is it actually making you happy?
Is there one experience you think everyone should have when they're younger that will help them grow and they'll learn something from it?
Working in a restaurant.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think everybody should have some kind of like minimum wage crappy job instead of
Oh, okay, I get what you mean. I'm like, why a restaurant? I've worked in a restaurant. I wouldn't necessarily say, yeah, man, it's something you should definitely do.
Looking to have some fancy experience. And I think those things give you compassion and humanity for other people that it helps you understand other people's experiences.
Taking a gap year or a couple of gap years and just going out there and working, because that might clarify things.
What's it like being in your 60s versus maybe your 50s, 40s? How does life kind of evolve?
There's more time for introspection. I think priorities change. You care more about developing and actualizing who you are and less about impressing other people.
I feel like I'm much better just being honest and straightforward about things. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm just trying to tell the truth and live my life,
When I was in 20s and 30s, I thought 60 was really old, and it's getting up there. The number bothers me then more than how I feel.
The way people react to me. They're usually surprised I'm not whatever their image is of 58. And so I'll get a little bit of a...
She does look young for 58. She does not look 58, man. She looks like maybe mid-40s. Maybe early 50s.
And I don't like it. And I'm actually dreading being 78 for that reason. So it's less fear of old age itself and more people, society, everyone treating me like I am old and useless and senile, when I'm not.
There's some negative things that happen with age in our culture. I think that it's people are trying to look younger, not be who they are. And I'm I'm 55. I'm not ashamed to say I'm 55. I'm happy with that.
Embrace
What is
55.
one thing that when you were younger, you put a lot of importance on, but as we get older, you realize wasn't that important?
When you're young, you have sort of an ambition because you have a lot of years ahead of you and you think you have time to develop something. As you get older, your ambition gets lower and you become more relaxed because of that.
Is it a bad thing?
No, when you're young, you're supposed to be ambitious. It's just changing with age,
Works.
Can you elaborate?
I just think that when you're young, you have really high expectations of yourself. You're more driven to think about your future and your career and all those things. And as you get older, you realize that those things don't matter as much as you thought.
What matters?
Friends and family. Traveling. A lot of people put off things that they want to do their whole life until they retire. And then when you retire, your body doesn't work as well. You don't feel as good. You don't enjoy it as much.
My looks. When I was younger, I would not have emerged from the house looking like this.
Aww.
I don't put the importance of being absolutely perfect all the time.
But she's cute, though. Bro, let's be realistic, bro. If you had to have a sugar mama, and this was my sugar mama, somebody who was this, pleasant to be around, kind of cute and whatever, whatever, not in a weird way, but just, just generally, nice to look at, bro. I'll be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? For a couple rackets, I can get behind that, figuratively and literally.
I did, I have to admit.
Care a little less about what other people think of you. I think you value relationships more. So all the other sort of superficial stuff, clothes, money, cars, job, whatever, that's a lot less important. Right now I'm in a job that I absolutely loathe, but when you get to my age, like my entire resume is this particular job, so it's difficult to make a career change at this point, although I wish I could. I probably should.
Pleasing other people. I did put importance on it when I was younger just because it was a psychological, kind of embedded way of being, and I realized that's not really a satisfying way to live life.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and you'll also probably enjoy this video right here.
Type shit. Great video, man. I hope y'all was taking notes. We out of here.